there, this is Keith. In today's video, I'm going to do a personal review of the ActiveOn CX GOLD Action Cam. That's right, this little camera I have right here. What I'm going to do is tell you my experience with this camera because I've owned it for about 6 months now. I use it almost every day. So I'm going to form this video into a pros and cons style of video, and I'm going to hit on the topics that I'm familiar with. In fact, you know, there's features of this camera that I don't use, and so I'm not going to really talk about them that much because I don't know about them. Oh yeah, by the way, in the background behind me, these are actual videos shot with this camera, just so you get a feel for what the camera can do as far as background video goes. Okay, let's start with the pros of the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera. My number one pro is this video camera shoots in 1080p 60 frames a second, and it shoots 720p 120 frames a second. The 120 frames a second, great for slow motion. Hey, let's take a look at that slow motion right now. Hey, that was pretty cool. I love slow motion video. Okay, the number two pro with the ActiveOn CX GOLD is the camera case itself. It's a pretty rugged little case. It's not plastic. It's some kind of metal alloy. It might be aluminum. But anyway, if you drop it or something like that accidentally, it's probably going to hold up. It's not going to break or chip or scratch. So you can handle this camera even without its protective case, you know, pretty ruggedly, and it's going to survive. The third pro with the CX GOLD camera is the firmware updates. You can go to the ActiveOn website, find a link to download the latest firmware, and believe me, it works. The firmware really increases the functionality of the camera, so do that if you have the camera. The fourth pro with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera is the LCD screen on the back. You can frame up any shot you want, and the LCD screen is a touch screen. So you don't have to push any buttons. You can use your finger to scroll through the menus and pick the functions you want. So that's pretty cool. The fifth pro with this camera is that it comes with Wi-Fi, and I can confirm the Wi-Fi app works really well. It controls most of the functions of the camera, and it hardly has any lag at all. So what the camera sees and what you see on your tablet screen are almost instantaneous, which is great. Now, personally, I never use Wi-Fi. I don't know why you would want to use Wi-Fi, but if you do, it works really well. The sixth pro with this camera is that it does take photos. In fact, the photos are 16 megapixels large. Now, personally, I didn't buy the camera to take photos, but it does take photos, and you can do time lapses, and you can put timers on the camera to do what you want with it, like a bigger camera. And in fact, I'll show you a few of the photos right now, so you can check it out while I'm talking. But personally, I didn't buy this camera to take photos. I have a different camera for that, but if you want to take photos with it will take them, and now you're seeing images of what it actually looks like. Pro number 7 with this camera is that it has DIS. It came with the firmware update. DIS, Digital Image Stabilization, which means if you're walking around with the camera in your hand, you're being a bit shaky, the DIS will help stabilize the video a little bit. It's not perfect, it's not great, but it's better than not having it at all. So DIS with this camera, it's got it. Pro number 8 with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera is that it has 8 different settings that you can use for specific types of videography. That means you can shoot underwater or in the daylight or indoors. I don't know how well these actual little buttons work, but you can change them. Actually, I plan to do a video in the future about this exact topic, so I don't know how much you can customize these little buttons so they work better, you know, as far as like underwater and stuff goes, but they have them in case you want to use them. Pro number 9 with the ActiveOn CX cameras, they come with a protective case. If you're shooting video in a very dangerous situation where you think, hey, I might break the camera, well, it can go in the case, and of course the case is used for shooting video underwater. Pro number 10 with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera is that the battery life is over 2 hours long. You can capture a lot of video in over 2 hours, a complete sports match or whatever, and my camera came with 2 batteries, so 4 hours of video. Wow, how will I ever have time to edit that much video? Pro 11 with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera is that it has 4 different fields of view, FOV. You've got super wide, wide, medium, and narrow. So you can set the camera to your personal preference as far as what your video is going to look like. And the super wide is that big fisheye look, if you know what I mean. And the narrow is closer to a standard camcorder. The 12th Pro with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera is that it has LED lights on the camera that flash on and off when you're recording. So if you're kind of puzzled, you wonder, did I press record or not? You can check the LED light in the front. It flashes on and off. And there's another one on the top. So just in case you're wondering, am I recording this? You can check the LEDs. If they're not flashing, it's not recording. The 13th Pro with this camera is that it does come with a tripod mount right on the bottom of the camera, which is great because you can put it on a selfie stick or a normal tripod without the protective case. You don't need it in situations where it's not dangerous, and this is great because it saves you all kinds of time to set up. You don't need the case. You can just hook it up and set it up exactly where you want it via this little tripod mount. Great thing to have on a camera. The 14th and final Pro with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera is simply that it's so small and tiny. Fits in the palm of your hand. You can take it in your backpack, put it in your pocket. It goes anywhere. You always have it with you. And if you want to record discrete video, most people won't even see this. You could put it on a table somewhere or a little case. Anyways, it's a great camera. It's small. You can record the selfie style videos with it and put it almost anywhere on a sports field. No one's going to even notice you're recording. It's great. And that's the Pro with this camera. It's small, it's light. Hey, you can take it anywhere. Okay, now it's time for me to talk about the cons of this camera. Things about it that I personally don't like that much. First one is the LCD screen on the back because it's touchscreen. Because this camera is small, you're handling it in your hand, and when the camera is on, you accidentally touch the back screen a lot. And what happens is you turn on and off settings that you don't want. And sometimes you might record it and your audio is off because you accidentally turned the mic off and you didn't realize it. So that kind of pisses you off sometimes that you're changing settings and you don't know you're changing settings. So yeah, that can bother you. You have to get into the habit of touching the outside and not the back of the camera, which is hard to do. Con number 2 with this camera is that I find there's a slight buzz to the audio when you're recording the video. You know, when you get it home, you play it back, you hear the zzz, and you wonder, what is that noise? However, I think I fixed it because there is a setting where you can turn the mic gain from 100% down to 90%, and chances are that's going to reduce the buzz to almost nothing. But there is that buzz in the background that kind of bugs me. Con number 3 with this camera is the battery life in cold weather. I know I've already said it's a Pro, it's 2 hours long, but in cold weather, you're down to about 10 minutes. It's kind of the life of batteries, how they work anyways, but when it's cold out, it's below freezing, you might get 10 minutes with this camera, 15 tops. So if you're actually out skiing or tobogganing and you want to shoot video with the camera, you might only get 10 minutes with this camera, and that's not really a great thing. Con number 4 with the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera, it doesn't work well at night. But then again, not a lot of action cams work well in low light conditions. They have a small little lens, and that's just par for the course, I guess. But let's face it, you use an action cam to record sports, and you're not going to be playing a lot of sports or swimming underwater in the darkness after the sun goes down. You're not going to be playing football or baseball in the dark, and you're not going to be biking in a trail in the dark. So you can't expect the camera's going to record that. Maybe get a great expensive low light camera for that, but otherwise, I didn't really expect it would work well at night, but it doesn't. Con number 5 with the ActiveOn CX camera is that it comes with a digital zoom and it doesn't work really well. You can tap the back of the camera and it'll zoom in once, twice, 3 times, 4 times bigger, and it's just cropping the image and it looks distorted. It's not a good feature. Optical zoom is what you want, but it's an action cam. It has digital zoom, just doesn't work very well. I never use it. Con number 6 with the camera, and the last one I'm going to touch on, is the LCD screen on the back is very hard to see in bright sunlight. But hey, aren't all devices with LCD screens hard to see in bright sunlight? Damn that sun. But anyway, when you're trying to frame up that shot, you just can't see the back of the camera. You can't see the LCD screen. But hey, every camera's like that, pretty much more or less. In conclusion, I have to admit, I really like this little camera, the ActiveOn CX GOLD. The quality is very good. It's kind of like you'll see with your eye, and that's all you can ask for a fairly inexpensive camera, an action cam. So I'm really happy with it. And I hope the video clips I provided with you today, plus going through the pros and cons, helps you decide, is this a camera for you, or would you prefer something different? Anyway, this is Keith. I hope you enjoyed the video, my review, my personal review of the ActiveOn CX GOLD camera. Bye for now.